So we are headed to Rochester City School District in downtown Rochester. There's a school board meeting, and longtime education activist here in Rochester, New York, Mr. Howard Eagle. Some of you may recognize the name. I've been a guest on his show many times, and his cable access television show. And it's gonna get hot in there. It's gonna heat up. Stay tuned. So we're here with Mr. Howard Eagle. Welcome on Davy VTV.
Thank you much, David.
For those of you not from the Rochester area, all my viewers across the country and even overseas, Mr. Howard Eagle is a longtime activist here in Rochester, New York, specifically on issues concerning and revolving around education. And specifically, he's been a very outspoken force for decades when it comes to the Rochester City School District. Again, welcome. Tell me a little bit about what's going on here tonight.
Well, we're here tonight to greet, if you will, Dr. Jaime Aquino, who is an educator who's been appointed by the State Commissioner of New York. The New York State Commissioner of Education has appointed him as a so-called distinguished educator. And we are vehemently opposed to the decision that she made without any discussion with our community, without any discussion with parents or students or anyone else. So her decision was very disrespectful, and we believe racist. In fact, we don't think she would ever pull this kind of stunt in a predominantly white suburban school district. But the whole idea of someone who comes into our community at a cost of at least $200,000, and that he's going to study what's going on in our district and see something that those of us who've been working in this community for decades haven't seen. He's going to discover something that we don't know already is ludicrous, and so it looks like a political move on the part of the state commissioner just to cover herself. Rochester is the worst performing school district in all of New York State, so she has to show that she's doing something. Apparently this is her idea of showing that she's doing something to address the crisis.
Is this a tactic, Howard, when it comes to the Rochester City School District? And like your niche is education, and mine and my dad's is more, police accountability. So I'm not too well versed, but I used to be a Rochester City School District student in the 80s, and it just sounds to me like they do a lot of this like underhanded rubber stamping kind of thing. It's not just now, and obviously a lot of folks may remember my video where I put on blast Barbara Dean Williams, the new superintendent. But over the years, it's not, I want the viewers to know, especially the viewers who may not be from this area, it's not so much about this incident. Isn't there a history when it comes to the city school district, Howard? Can you hit on that briefly?
Certainly, it's a very long history. This crisis is nothing new. This has existed for decades, literally, and there's just one shenanigan after another in terms of so-called addressing the problems, the deep-seated issues that never get addressed. We can just about predict with certainty how this is going to turn out because we've seen it so many times. They would do a big, wonderful report on paper, and they'll develop some plan and tell us that it's going to take 6 or 7 years to implement the plan. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, we'll begin to hear the excuses about why it's going to take longer than they thought, because there are obstacles that they didn't anticipate. The game, if you will, is so old that we recognize it when we see it coming. So this is more of the same. And certainly the approach that they're taking would indicate that it's more of the same. Instead of them going to the community, going to parents, going to those of us who have a stake in this, who are stakeholders in this, and saying, let us do this together. Let us come up with a plan, a realistic plan by which to improve conditions. Instead, they go and import some guy who knows nothing about our community and so forth, and I guess we're supposed to believe that he has some kind of magic that the rest of us don't know about.
I know you, and I know your style, and much like me, you're outspoken, and you're known to not be afraid to stand up. As the viewers will soon see, you're going to be very outspoken tonight.
Oh yeah, we have started a campaign that we're calling Turn Up the Heat, and we certainly are here to do just that this evening.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. We'll be talking to you more on other shows, and we're going to get some footage of here. So thanks again for coming on Davy TV.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
All right.
I look better in person than that picture.
Well, you look at least as good.
You're right.
All right.
Really good to meet you.
So you're gonna hear some things from us tonight. Don't take it personal.
I won't.
All right.
I'm usually don't want, but I look forward to it, and I will listen very attentively.
Very
So
good.
don't worry.
The next item on the agenda, as you all know, we have speakers addressing an agenda item. We also have speakers not addressing an agenda item. For all those speakers, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to call you up. You called in central office and you were told that you'd have 3 minutes. We would ask that you respect that time limit. Not so much out of respect for the board, but out of respect for other people who are going to be speaking. If you go over your time limit, you're not hurting the board, you're hurting the democratic opportunity of other citizens who want to address the board and the rest of the community. So we'd ask that you keep the 3-minute time limit. If you don't, an obnoxious bell will ring, and it will keep on ringing until you sit down. So again, no one wants to disrespect you, but we do want you to respect the time of others. The other thing I'll ask you to do is I'll call 2 names. I'll do my best to pronounce the names. Quite often I mangle names, and I apologize for that. But I will do my best to do that. I'll call the first speaker, and then I'll ask the other speaker to stand in the speaker's left so that you're ready. You're on deck and you're ready to go. All right. So our first speaker addressing an agenda item is Howard Eagle. Mr. Eagle.
Good evening. I'm speaking as a parent, Rochester City School District parent, also as a member of the Take Down Planning Committee, Faith Community Alliance, Movement for Anti-Racist Ministry and Action Coalition. And I'm speaking as a local, state, and federal taxpayer. I wanted to mention before I begin, I assume you know that a number of citizens sent in emails to you, and they asked that those emails, that the content of those emails be read into tonight's minutes, the minutes of this meeting. And so I just wanted to mention that, so when we look at the minutes, we would expect that those comments would be there.
Excuse me, Howard. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can you speak into the mic better?
Oh, yes, sir, absolutely. Is that better?
Is it even turned on?
I don't know if it's on or not.
Oh, yeah, we can hear.
I guess they got it turned down. They think I yell a lot. So it's truly amazing to study your resolutions. When I study your resolutions, such as some that you will vote on tonight, like resolution number 2018-19-189, so-called authorization of additional payment. More than $1.3 million, mostly for so-called extended or expanded learning time. All of this money, and that's just one example of millions of dollars going straight into the pockets and bank accounts of people who, for the most part, do not live in this community and would not and do not dream of sending their own children or grandchildren to school in this school district. The overwhelming majority of them do not spend any money, not even a dime, won't even purchase a bubble gum in this community. But instead, they take the millions back to the communities where they live and where their children go to school, all this money, and huge numbers of our children still flunking out, being put out, dying out. Nothing ever seems to change, not substantially, not fundamentally, not permanently, but still spending all of this money. On August 7th, we heard one of your members say that financially, and this is a quote, the district is in a really bad place. She said that she thinks, and this is a quote, 2019 is going to be one of the worst years in the history of the Rochester City School District. This is a board member who said this on the 7th of this month.